This is Business and Economy Network.
Hello, it's glad to know you are watching your program. This is Business and Economy Network. My name still remains Peter Umoche. Remember, I've often said this. We have the bragging right to the fact that this is your #1 television magazine program that educates you on Nigerian economy, policies of government, and things happening, where we bring in operators to educate you and I on happenings in Nigerian economy. Those of you watching us in Abuja, Port Harcourt, Ilori, Kano, Kaduna, those of you watching us outside the shores of Nigeria to make inquiries on how to invest effectively and adequately in Nigerian economy. Those of you in London, wherever you are watching this program and around the world, I want to say thank you so very much. This is Business and Economy Network. Now for the news, we have a breaking news and a good news for all Nigerians, especially those in the textile industry in Nigeria. Recently, Biotechnology Development Agency, NABDA, recently gave us an information that BT cotton have now been commercialized in Nigeria. Yes, this was a great news that happened just last week here in Ibadan, where the release committee released it and gave us more information about that. And also we have the Director General of National Biosafety Management Agency, the agency that is saddled with the responsibility of regulating biotechnology in Nigeria, meaning that biotech, even when you eat GMO fruit and all that, they are safe for us. They are giving us up to date and will be giving you weekly basis information and updates on this unique agency in Nigeria. Now for the program itself proper, we are also looking at biotechnology proper in agriculture and also in health. And we have the DG in the house today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the issue of health delivery in Nigeria is very, very critical. Our health sector, how has it been? You and I, how have you been faring when it comes to health? And can you go to an hospital directly and say, yes, I need treatment? We have the CEO of Venus MEDICARE Limited, a unique medical provider in Nigeria. He's going to lend his voice on the issue of Medicare in Nigeria. The last but not the least, we are talking about leasing. You can get anything you want in your home, in your offices, wherever you are. We have the CEO of First Choice Leasing Limited in Nigeria, a company saddled with leasing of any kind of thing you can think about, and even to finance your businesses and all that. It's going to be loaded. It is in deep, it is incisive, and it's going to be very, very educative. I'll be back after this time out.
The National Committee on Naming and Release of Crop Materials in Ibadan officially approved the registration of 2 BT cotton varieties. The newly developed genetically modified seed has come as a solution to the agricultural sector and textile development. Differentiating traits of this new crop: it is high yield level, it has a 150 to 160 days maturity period, its resistance to bollworm and tolerant to suckling insects. And also, the National Biosafety Management Agency is all about the regulation of food and crop produced by modern technology. The agency checks and gives permits before GMOs are released and sold. Also, to be sure it's safe for human health consumption and the environment.
I'm happy to inform you that the National Committee on Naming, Registration and Release of Crop Materials at its 26th meeting in Ibadan approved the official registration of 2 BT cotton varieties known as MRC 7377, BG11, and MRC 7361, BG11. As was mentioned by the chairman of the committee during the release, the registration of GM cotton is revolutionary to both the agricultural and textile development of Nigeria, and can lead to future adoption of GM technology in the country. I regard this development as a milestone considering the state of our textile industry, which hitherto used to be the second highest employer of labor in the country in the 60s and the 70s. The textile industry has been comatose due to the absence of viable raw materials. Hence, Nigeria became dependent on other countries for textiles, leaving over 250 industries under lock and key. You will all recall, ladies and gentlemen, that countries such as Sudan and recently Burkina Faso released such cotton in the past, and it changed the lives of its farmers. Nigeria is not in isolation from other countries in the region or continent at large. And as the giant of Africa, we must take our pride of place as far as technological advancement of the continent is concerned. As we celebrate this breakthrough, I encourage other scientists and institutions engaged in other confined field trials not to relent, as Nigerians are eagerly awaiting the outcome of their research, which ultimately will enhance the quality of food at their tables, as well as increasing the income of our peasant farmers.
And the National Biosecurity Management Agency, being an arm of the government, we need to let the Nigerian public know that the federal government is making a tremendous effort in the area of biosecurity management in this country to ensure healthy products of modern biotechnology. Modern biotechnology being a tool in the modification of organisms for specific purposes has always been seen from point of controversy. However, there is no technology in the world without any adverse impact if not properly managed. The essence of the National Biosecurity Management Agency is to ensure that the practice of modern biotechnology and its products, which are genetically modified, are safe for human consumption and to the environment. And the federal government has not failed in its effort to ensure that the biosafety issues in this country are properly addressed. Recently, we have met with the various representatives of superstores across the country, and we have held meetings with them and told them in specific terms that they must obtain permit before any genetically modified foods are sold in their shops. The agency has also worked closely, monitoring the various research institutes across the country to ensure that they confine themselves with the regulations and the Act of 2015. This Nigerian Research Institute, we have discovered some research institutes within the country have the capacity to do genetic engineering and to come out with the products known as genetically modified organisms. So in this light, we have taken it upon ourselves to monitor these research institutes to ensure that before they carry out any genetic engineering activity, they are accredited and their facilities, that is, their labs, are also certified to ensure that they have the ability to contain any genetically modified ingredient.
The National Biotechnology Development Agency is responsible for promoting, coordinating, and setting research and development priorities in biotechnology for Nigeria. The Acting Director General, Chief Executive Officer, Professor Alex Wadiego Akbar, in an interview explained that GMOs are very safe and Nigerians should not entertain fear, looking at the bigger developed countries who have been able to conquer food security for many years.
For any Nigerian to consume GMO foods or products, it is completely safe. The United States has the most stringent of laws with regards to food and food products. And the GMO crops have passed through US certification all through and has been in use in the US for over 25, maybe 35 years. And there has been no single report, authenticated report, of any deleterious effect as a result that can be linked to GM crops. There is none. And there's no publication in any linear journal that I know about. None, not even one, that has found anything wrong with GM crops. In fact, one of the largest was, I think a few years ago, Nobel laureates from all over the world, over 100 of them in different areas, medicine, physics, chemistry, biology, all met together, reviewed every publication on GM and came to the conclusion that it's completely, totally safe. So I will tell all Nigerians it is completely safe. All that is being said are being said by people who do not wish us well, and they shouldn't listen to them. No, I think the anti-GM groups, I believe that most of them are people who are backed by people probably outside the shores of this country, and many of them I've met some of them in meetings. A good number of them are coming from the social sciences background. So when you talk of GM, it sounds very big and complex to them, and they start imagining all sorts of things. But for us, pure scientists, we know that there is something wrong with GM. What GM actually does is, in nature, even nature on its own, crops keep improving on its own. Just like if you bring pictures, if you look at human beings the way they looked 100 years ago, it's different from human beings the way they look today. But we are not genetically modified any human being. So nature has a way of, on its own, reforming and improving itself. But what the GM, the technology simply does, is to accelerate that process. A breeder, somebody might spend all his life as a breeder and be able to come up with only 1 or 2 new crops. And he retires as a professor, of course. But he has only been able to produce just 1 or 2 crops by normal method of breeding. Cross-breeding and breeding, look at the selecting until you get exactly what you want. Maybe in 5 years or so, you can achieve something that usually will take up to 20 or 25 years or more to achieve. Well, we expect it to be a place that is completely different from where it is now. That is what we expect. We expect that in the next 2-3 years, that people will no longer, when you say you work in NABDA, people will no longer ask what do people do in NABDA. People should be able to know, oh, that place where they produce diagnostic kits for HIV/AIDS or something like that. Well, we should be able to be identified with something positive.
Dr. Aminu Mohammed, an Adamawa state-born and trained medical doctor, is the MD/CEO of Venus Medicare Limited, a health maintenance organization accredited by the National Health Insurance Scheme and a subsidiary of Zenith Bank Group, which has actually given Venus a positive edge. The firm started up with former sector clients like the PHCN and the National Police Force, and over the years built up a high clientele with the private sector. Venus provides health insurance services to individuals, small employer groups, and the large corporate organizations.
I can say, first and foremost, is the brand name. Brand name Zenith gave us an edge. We started, like I said, with the former sector, employees. NHIS, at the beginning allocated lives to the different HMOs that were existing. So Zenith Medicare happened to be one of those HMOs earlier formed. So we were given power holding company to start with, and we did very well, even though the contribution to the pool from that sector became low, because it was found out that their contribution was not coming from the from the what do we call it, from the main treasury. So they now had to start contributing on their own. So they now exited from the program. But we were now allocated Nigerian Police Force, we currently manage Zone 7 of the Nigerian Police Force, comprising of the Force Headquarters, FCT Command, Kaduna State Command, and Niger State. So that is the chunk of the formal sector, the public sector program we are doing. Then we are also into the private sector scheme. We have different products. Yeah, we have designed our products in such a way that even the smallest package at least covers the basic needs of of the individual. So you can come in as an individual, single or family, or you can come as a group in an organized form, like a company can invite us, or we can approach an organization and say, okay, like come in, and any organization that has at least 10 employees is expected to join in as a group, and that will now afford them the different packages that we have. And then we also have the NHIS package, which is actually a standard benefit package that entitles the beneficiary, the contributor, to get access, either as an individual, or if they're also coming in through an organization that will entitle the contributor with his or her spouse, and up to a maximum of 4 children, to different packages. So there are different packages for every bucket. HMO means Health Maintenance Organization. As is found out or is practiced worldwide, Health Maintenance Organization basically deals in pooling of resources against ill health. That is, implementing the health insurance sector, being a managed care industry. So you now have people contributing a token into a pool in the event of ill health. So basically HMO is the implementing arm of the health insurance. Yeah, just like what you have in the PFS, implementing the pension scheme, they are warehousing the funds on behalf of the employees, generally. So they now, invest the monies for them and then disburse to them after retirement. So that's exactly what we do in health insurance. In the health insurance, the Health Maintenance Organization, is responsible for warehousing the funds and then defraying it in case of ill health. So any contributor that finds himself needing the healthcare services, qualitative healthcare services, will utilize, and then the the cost is now borne by the Health Maintenance Organization. Right now, the Act establishing National Health Insurance Scheme stated clearly that it is voluntary. So it is not mandatory to operate health insurance in the country generally. So that is number one, challenge, health insurance industry Nigeria is facing, unlike other, sectors. So we now find ourselves, creating awareness, telling everybody that come on board, come make contribution, either in the private sector, either in the non-formal sector, wherever you find yourself, make contribution and then reap whenever you need it. So National Health Insurance Scheme is expected to lead that awareness campaign, and then we will fall into place.
First Choice Leasing Limited is one of Nigeria's pace-setting leasing firms, considering its strategic mode of operations and dynamic nature. Chief Michael DJ, the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, is an expert in finance, leasing, and investment, having worked in diverse reputable firms, gaining necessary experience and building the needed capacity, which is one reason why First Choice Leasing is endeared to a lot of Nigerians and its clients when it comes to leasing.
First Choice Leasing Limited was incorporated to provide leasing services to its clients, and that is what we've been doing. So we provide both finance and operating leases. We also give cars for rentals. We do equipment rentals also. Here we do recruitment services, and unlike other leasing firms, we are also financial consultants. We are a member of Institute of Management Consultants of Nigeria. So we do financial consultancy, for which we are well known. So those are the services we render. We fall back on our experience. One of the things that has helped us as an organization is that we have been able to identify our targets. We have been able to also bring our experience to bear in the provision, structuring of services that we render to our clients. So I would say that one of the things that has helped this organization is the fact that we are customer-centric in the way we provide our services. We are flexible, and so that has helped us in no great measure to see that we not just carve out the market, but also have carved a niche for ourselves. That's why you also see that most of the organizations that comes to us, most of the clients that we are dealing with, are those ones that have either been referred to us by the previous people we have dealt with, or people who have heard of the way we have actually handled transactions for others. You see here in First Choice Leasing Limited, we are dynamic. Yes, we are really innovative. So we have been able to structure facilities to cater for all strata of the society. For those of them that what we call the SMEs, we have found out that even amongst them, you find the ones that have genuine appetite to grow their businesses. So, and these are the ones that the banks cannot actually extend facility to because of one, it's either they are new or they don't have the capacity by way of providing the collateral that will be required or their documentations. So, being a financial consulting firm also, we take our time to help them in structuring their facilities to put together their documentations, and then see a way of giving them facilities, So those are things we do, and I think it has paid off. We have quite a number of them, that have actually taken facilities, and they are now doing very well. The Nigerian economy has been up and down in the last couple of decades, and so the issue we have had to face, the challenges we have had to face and surmounted challenges that are generic to other leasing firms, and this ranges from lack of capital. You also find that in Nigeria you have dearth of manpower. Professionalism is you are lacking that in Nigeria. But more importantly, you find that also that leasing organizations have not gotten the kind of support that government should give to it. In other climes, we talk of other climes, if you go to UK, you go to US, Pakistan, you find out that leasing is extremely the most viable financing option. And this is because of the support they've received from their governments. But Nigeria, successive governments have not shown much interest, and this is a sector that ordinarily or ideally should be supporting the banking industry. It's a sector that helps to provide facilities to both the SMEs and other organizations, but unfortunately it has been lip service, just to put it very mildly. That is what we have been having. So we are also advised using this forum to talk to the government, relevant agencies, that they should support what Elan has been able to achieve. Equipment Leasing Association of Nigeria has been over the time, including some of us, fighting to see that we project leasing, because the restrictive nature of lending in Nigeria now, where the banks will call for all manner of collaterals and guarantees, secondary comforts and all that, it means that most organizations, most clients are now tilting towards the leasing industry, leasing companies to assist them. to provide facilities. So government should look into it to see how they can support leasing organization to be able to provide these services. When this is done, you will find out that it will help the economy, because leasing actually fuels the economy.
This is Business and Economy Network.
Well, viewers, this is where time will permit us, and this is the size of the package. I want to say thank you so very much, and I believe it has really been incisive, educative, and actually, mind-blowing, looking at all that we have presented today. But let me give you this quote from a renowned footballer, Pele, who once said, "Success is never by accident." And he went further and said, it takes practice, practice, and practice. All these unique individuals we have presented today, one thing is very, very common among them. They have been focused, they've been determined, and they have persevered the storm. What are you doing? I believe we can do great things to make our economy great. When I mean great, I mean great. For you to be gainfully employed and put food on our table. I am doing my own part. What about you? Let's not shout government, government, government. Who are these governments? You and I. I'll see you again same time next week, God's willing. Stay blessed.